I think so. Those two backs are as good a combination as I've seen since I've been in coaching. They really offset each other well. Both of them can catch out of the backfield, and strong physical runners that are both play on Sundays. So I would expect to see a heavy dose of them.
Coach, I know a lot of people want to get this thing fixed as fast as possible, and that's not always possible to do. But what do you guys do as a coaching staff to just try to get things fixed as best as you can, as soon as you can?
Yeah, there's a lot to fix. There's no doubt. Just midway point, reassess what we're doing, how we're doing it, as far as practice goes, personnel-wise, who we're playing. I think we took a look at really everything on Sunday and trying to figure out what we need to tighten up and who needs to be playing and what changes we need to make in this last part of the season to be the most effective.
Maybe them coming out flat on Saturday, is there something that you feel like that maybe was a reason for that? Is that able to...
No, I don't. If you come out flat for homecoming, then it's not very good. So I'm not sure what the cause of that was, if we were intimidated, if we were nervous, but it just wasn't the normal energy we've had, particularly when we're playing at home.
When you say reassess how you're doing things, and you also alluded to reassess how you practice, are there any changes there that you'd make?
We're going to do some different things in practice just to the next part of the season, a lot of similar offenses to what we run in the Big 12, and we'll do some more good-on-good type situations to try and give the best looks possible for each other.
What are you doing to hold the players accountable for the after-play penalties, the personal fouls, those kind of things?
Yeah, that's a great question. We have a punishment in place, and Murphy got ejected, which he won't start this next half, and then Peyton, we should have taken Peyton out of the game, but he was in for Keyshawn, so we really didn't have another safety. But yeah, they'll come out of the ball game and won't play much if that occurs moving forward, and then they'll have punishment during that week as well.
Cliff, you showed plenty of resolve as a player, but right now at halftime, you guys are trailing. You're just 1-19. Just from a coach's perspective, what do you feel like is preventing the comebacks from happening?
That's a great question. Not sure. We got to be mentally tougher. There's no doubt about it. When you get down and can't respond, that's not what you want to be labeled as a player or a team, and that's kind of where we're at. I think when we get rolling and we're hot, we're pretty good, and right now if we get behind, we don't handle that well.
Last week, Dana Holgerson, before he even played you guys, had talked about how he changed his approach a few years ago. After a loss like that, do you look at their sideline and say maybe that's where up-tempo teams are headed right now, where they're running the ball a little bit more, investing more in defense? I mean, does that change your approach at all?
No. They've done a great job. They have a good team, but as far as philosophies go, it's very similar to what theirs is. They had really good players. They have a good scheme, and they beat us.
Do you feel like your philosophy is headed in the correct direction right now?
Yes.
What gives you confidence?
Just knowing what I have seen here and what we have.
Tangibly, do you feel like you're able to see that on the field week in and week out through the season?
We did not last week, no.
If both fans seem to conclude that if you don't immediately be ready to play your on the sideline for, say, a personal foul penalty, that you're giving them a pass, so to speak. What's your philosophy in terms of dealing with kinds of things that you think are inexcusable, specifically penalties?
Yeah, probably a little bit different. I don't do anything for show as far as trying to show off for the fans or make a point so the fans see it, but that gets dealt with on its own.
Can you elaborate when you said, I mean, what is the consequence for?
I'm not going to go into consequences of what the punishment is or what they do or what's said, but it's handled.
Baker Mayfield's coming back. I heard you on the call this morning. You feel pretty good that there's not going to be any animosity on the field, but what about the fans?
I mean, anytime a player was out of school and comes back, there'll be some of that volatility, I'm sure. But for me, the way it's worked out, it's been 3 years. It's just, you know, trying to get prepared to beat a very good OU team.
But do you feel like that situation continues to get drawn out where it's kind of run its course by this point?
I do. I think it's all worked itself out the way where everybody's happy, and you know, he's playing well. So I don't see the issue anymore.
Is that something you expect to be in the back of your mind, the players' minds at all?
I don't think so. I think we have enough on our minds that we know we have to get better at this week and focus on those things.
You talked about mental toughness. That isn't just something you can pick up at 7-Eleven. What do you do in the span of a week to shift that? Or can you?
We'll find out. You know, you just make it a point of emphasis that we have to play tougher. We'll practice. We'll try to ramp up practices and see if we can bring more energy and more enthusiasm, more mental toughness this week.
Did you feel like Pat was rested at all from Kansas State to West Virginia?
I think that his lack of practicing caught up to him. I think that first week he was still kind of in that streak, in that zone, and this last week not practicing as much as we would have liked probably caught up to him, and then he tried to do a little bit too much, I felt like, in the second half.
In hindsight, do you feel like maybe should have gotten a start since he was all over practice?
I don't think so. I mean, watching Pat play the week before, did a lot of good things and felt like he'd be better this week, but I just think not getting as many reps as he's used to getting probably had an effect on his play.
Do you think he'll be able to go 100% practice for the rest of this week?
It sounds like it. Sounds like he feels a lot better this week, early in the week, and we'll be able to get him to practice a little bit more.
How much did you feel like his shoulder wasn't there, or the offensive line just was gun shy because it felt like he was running around a lot for his life?
Yeah, a lot of those he was running around on his own. I felt like he had some things early in his progressions that probably could have taken, but got out of sync a little bit. Made some big plays as he always does, but we weren't our sharpest offensively, that's for sure.
As a former quarterback, I mean, how tough is that when you don't feel like the pass protection is there exactly to be able to hang in there and hang in the pocket when you're a little bit gun shy there and you're feeling like every time you got to scramble out and get out wide to be able to make a play?
Yeah, like I said, I didn't think he had to scramble as much as he did. Did some of that on his own, but when there's pressure as a quarterback, the great ones are able to stand in there and keep stepping into their throws and making plays.
Where would you kind of sense that your offensive line is right now, and what they can do to kind of get that experience?
Just continue to get better, continue to gel, have some experience, have some young guys that are trying to figure it out. But I thought they played well enough. We got to be able to run the ball better, there's no doubt, but we were just off, you know, skill position-wise. We turned the ball over, but I thought they were serviceable. Not what we want, not ideal, but it wasn't just the worst.
Speaking of, how do you think Bailey on
Yeah, he did good. We felt like his presence, tough runner, a little bit bigger body than we've had, that we needed to get him in there and get him some touches, and he did a good job.
Has he passed Dalton on the depth chart? Obviously,
Yeah, I don't know if he's passed him as much as he's understanding what we're after. He played in a very similar offense in high school to what we're running. I think he's picked it up a little bit quicker. But Corey is very talented, and we're going to try and find ways to get him touches. He's just got to do a little bit more studying on his own and get caught up as far as our scheme goes.
Rotating through some of those running backs, how much is factoring in just being able to pick up the pass protection as well?
Yeah, we're not as good as we should be. We missed some easy pickups last week that cost us, and that's just a focus deal, a concentration deal. And once again, that's part of the reason you saw Ward in there, was to get somebody that could help us pick some things up.
With Murphy out for the first half, does Akhenaten get back into the mix, or how do you rotate that?
Yeah, we'll see. We're going to kind of have a competition this week in practice and see who plays the best and go from there. Day to day. I have not seen him yet today. Saw him yesterday, so we'll see if he can move around today and kind of take it from there. I do not. I do not. He's kind of the same way. It's going to be a deal. If we feel like he can play and be protected, he'll play, and if not, I'd guess it'd be next week.
Is Pat looking downfield too much when he's making his reads instead of taking an easy 3-yard or 5-yard dump when he's scrambling?
I'm not sure. I think that he just really was trying a bit too hard, trying to do too much at times. Last week we get behind big and probably pushed the envelope a little bit too much. But prior to last week's game, had been playing at a very high level, and I think not practicing, having some discomfort in that shoulder probably affected him. I know it affected him, but hopefully we can get that resolved this week.
A lot of questions about the offense today, but what did you think of your defensive performance against West Virginia?
Yeah, it wasn't good enough. There's no doubt. Didn't get lined up, didn't make tackles when they were there, and their quarterback I thought played well, but we had plays to be made and we didn't make them.
Can you talk a little bit about Oklahoma's defense coming up?
Yeah, watching them, they've continued to get better. I thought last week against Kansas State they played very well. Good front. They got a couple of those guys back that didn't play last week. Good linebackers, athletic, physical. Coach Stoops does a good job bringing people from everywhere and keeping you off balance. So we'll be challenged. Be one of the better defenses we play.
How crucial do you feel like this game is right now with where you're sitting at 3-3 and what it could do for the rest of the season?
All of them are. From here on out, there's no doubt they're big conference games, and we need to play our best in these last 6 and be much improved from last week.